So give me
Let me know. Okay, call to order the 2021 organizational meeting for the Evergreen Board of Education. Mr. Farrelly, take the roll.
Mr. Vacula?
Here.
Mr. Murray?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Keeper?
Here. I can't hear.
Can you hear Nora?
Can you hear
Yes,
me?
I can.
Okay.
What's that?
Jason, but I cannot hear Brian.
Is that better? Can you hear him now? Hello?
Move it a little closer.
Is that the best internet we got?
How about now, Nora?
Brian.
Can you hear him now?
Brian. Unscrew the screen on the top of that arm and you can pull it closer.
Is he at Dolores?
No. How about now, Nora? Can you hear him?
I only have three screens, a GP and a Dolores.
She
And
can't.
that computer says
Dolores, she has. She.
I don't know how to-
I'll unmute it, maybe. Can you unmute yours, maybe? All right. How about now, Nora?
yeah.
Okay. Would like to take nominations for board president. Yeah,
I nominate Nora Kiefer.
I think you got mute.
I'm muting mine.
Yeah. I'll second the nomination.
maybe move you away from that mic. Would it help or not?
Yeah.
Is that better?
It seems to be.
We have a motion and a second.
What's that?
Ready for a vote?
We need a motion to close nominations.
Oh, so move.
Support. Take the roll. I take the roll. I take the roll. Mr. Vacula?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mrs. Keeper?
Yeah.
Since Nora isn't here, I will take nominations for vice president as well.
Hey, Nora? Can you try muting yours as well?
She needed to as well. They're talking.
Nora? Nora?
You still there? You still there, Nora?
Can you mute your mic?
Can you mute your mic? Is that better?
Okay, she's muted now.
Can she hear you? All right.
We good then? Okay. I'd like to open the floor for nominations for vice president.
I'll nominate Jason.
I'll second.
Yep.
Oh, and I'll move to close the nomination for vice president. So,
I'll second. Okay, Mr. Vakulik,
Yes.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
I vote yes. Mrs. Kiefer.
She's muted.
She can un.
Nora Jairus.
Put your volume down. Oh, there we
I
go.
heard her say yes over there, I believe. Okay, I will now turn the meeting over to Mr. Miller.
All right, so next number 6, we'll set the dates and times for the regular meeting of 2021. It's to set the third Monday of each month at 6 p.m. There's a date and time for regular meetings on the 2021 schedule for February, except for February 16th and March 22nd. In motion,
Smooth.
Support.
Mr. Taylor, roll call.
Mr. Vakulik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, we'll move to number 7, dispense with the reading of the minutes for the previous meetings of 2021.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vakulik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right. Number of paid meetings, limited paid board members, maximum of 13 meetings for the 2021.
Smooth.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vakulik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
I need a motion to appoint the 2021 liaison for the Evergreen Local Board of Education. Anybody volunteer?
It was last year, Don.
I think Nora did that last time, didn't she?
She said she can do it.
All right. Support it. I need a motion.
I'll,
Nora Kiefer.
I'll move that Nora Kiefer be appointed legislative liaison for the 2021 legislative session.
Support.
Roll call.
Man, support.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vakulik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mrs. Kiefer?
All right. I need to appoint someone to the 2021 Audit Committee for the Evergreen Local Board of Education.
Do we need two?
2.
Two? I'll do it.
Don Smith.
Did that.
Zach?
Yeah.
Zach Murray. Need motion?
Smooth.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vakulik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, I need a motion to establish a 2021 Public Record Commission for every local board of education that would include board president, superintendent, and treasurer.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vakulik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, I need a motion to establish the 2021 Board Service Fund at $5,000 to cover expenses of board members related to attending meetings or other board business as allowed by state law.
Smooth.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vakulik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, I need a motion to authorize the treasurer to invest funds, pay bills within appropriations, and seek advanced draws of taxes from Fulton and Lucas County for 2021.
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Vakulik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, I need a motion to authorize the superintendent to be purchasing agent for all purchases up to $35,000, approve expenditures for student activity accounts, and to approve staff leaves and professional meetings for 2021.
So move.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vakulik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, need a motion to adjourn the 2021 organizational meeting for the Evergreen Local Board of Education.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call?
Mr. Vaculik?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, at this point, we'll wait till 6 PM to start the regular board meeting, January 12th. About 5 minutes.
So, quick, even with all our technical difficulties.
These are the new ones. This, all these are his. Like it. Less pages.
Sorry.
Last time, we probably should.
Yeah. He did not,
I can log out.
he was logging in.
When are they going to be done with the addition?
First, it's supposed to
Nora,
go
can you hear me?
in June, and then cast their final project.
It's gonna get a lot of feedback. Nora, can you hear us?
No, she's not.
Testing. Can you hear me, Nora?
Laura, you showed me.
Can you hear me now, Nora? Okay. Any feedback?
Okay. Nora, you know that.
Yeah, because I don't want the feedback from you necessarily. Correct.
All right, I'm muted right now.
So do you want to?
Can you hear me now, Nora? Can you hear me now?
So I'm wondering if, like, when he's talking, he's unmuted, and then you're muted.
Can you hear me?
That's down.
Don?
You want me to unmute every time I talk?
I
It's just space.
I think when you talk, unmute, and then Ryan unmute,
We took over.
so you don't get feedback,
Posted now, we gotta have a motion.
and then when you talk,
Can't she hear me?
As of right now, though.
She's still here.
Nora, Nora, can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, my question.
Because she's not around. I got you. I got you.
so when Jason talks, you're muted. When you go to do roll call, you'll have to unmute, and you'll mute. Does that make sense?
Hey, we'll do the best we can. Yeah. I thought the audio was hooked up that she could hear.
Nora, are you
I
there?
got you.
All right, so when I talk, I'll unmute, and then when I'm done, I'll mute myself, and then Mr. Carroll will unmute. Yeah, I think it's just because it's so loud in that way. But then there's feedback. If I turn mine up loud,
You like that?
Yeah. Makes it a lot, I don't have to search around for the numbers and actually do the math, but I like
I
that.
really
Thank
like
you.
them calls.
So when I do my financial stuff too, I'll have to unmute. Okay, I think we're good. If not, just yell at me, and I can't read lips. So,
Good.
yeah, I think so. We'll figure it out.
Good luck. All right, we'll go ahead and call the January 12th, 2021 Evergreen School Board meeting. The president, Nora Kiefer, is quarantined, so she will be remote, and we will have to carry on without her. So, Mr. Carroll?
Mr. Vaculek?
Here.
Mr. Murray?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Here.
All right, we'll pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, does anyone desire to add, delete, or separate any items of the consent agenda as proposed? All right, I'll need a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented for the regular board meeting, January 12th, 2021.
So move.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vaculek?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer? Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, I will need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on December 21st, 2020.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vaculek?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, any correspondence from board members? Mr. Carroll? Mr. Small?
Yes, I did receive notification from Beverly Ackerman, her notice of resignation effective January 21st, 2021. We also did receive notification this past Saturday of the tragic passing of one of our elementary students, Adrian Wirtz, who was in the 4th grade. I ask, could we please observe a moment of silence for Adrian here at this meeting? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Small. Seeing that no one is registered to address the board, we will continue on with the presentation. Financial consent agenda, Mr. Carroll?
Okay, I have a couple reports here to go over. You guys have seen a couple of these before. So the very first one you have is the cash reconciliation. And this form, this is basically telling you literally where all of the money is right now. So you see the total fund balance at the bottom. And I'd like to take you over to this cash summary. This is the staple page here. And these are all of the actual funds that we have at Evergreen School. On the first page, you see the very top two are 001. Those are your general funds. We're going to talk about those in just a second. But from this cash reconciliation, that total fund balance near the bottom is the exact same number at the back of this cash summary under fund balance. You'll see that same number. So these reports tie together very nicely. It is the total money, literally where it is. And then this is how we have them in all the accounts here at Evergreen. So going back to a new report that you guys have, it is this green and blue graph. This is for those two 001 accounts only. This is the general fund. And this is basically taking last December and comparing it to this December where we're at. So last December is in blue, this December is in green, and it is giving us just for the month of December and then year to date and where we are with the forecast. And the top is the revenue, and on the bottom are expenses. So you can kind of go through there and see that we're looking really good as far as percentage that we have either received or spent this year. And then at the bottom of this graph is the cash balance and just a visual of how we are compared to last year. So a couple things to look at on the top. You'll see that our other operating is up $126,000. That is because of a workers' comp rebate that we did receive. And something that looks a little odd with COVID and everything, one of the grants that we received actually put us in the negative for money that we spent on supplies, but that's only because we received money more than what we spent, so it looks negative. So this is a report that I really like, and it's a good visual and kind of compresses multiple reports into one. And then the other item is what is required by the county auditor. This is our tax budget, and I have to file this with the county auditor. Basically is asking or telling the auditor what our bonds are, so he knows what to collect on real estate taxes. So required with that is the 5-year forecast from November, and then the assumptions as well. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Carroll. So I need to approve the December 2020 financial reports, including cash reconciliation and cash summary report, to approve the 5-year forecast and debt schedule as the tax budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021. Tax budget is required to be filed with the Fulton County Auditor this afternoon.
So move.
Support.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Vaculek?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith? Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, we'll now move on to personnel. Need to offer the supplemental contracts and approved volunteers listed below: Nolan Ray, Anna Vaughn, and then we also need to accept the resignation of Beverly Ackerman, middle school and high school head coach. Ms. Ackerman's resignation will be effective January 21st, 2021. We also need to approve Lindsay Crawford as a special education substitute teacher for the 2020-2021 school year. It is recommended by Eric Smoller, superintendent, to approve the preceding personnel items.
So move.
Support.
Any questions?
I want to make sure that all of our, even our volunteer coaches have their pupil activity permits. It's of the utmost importance. If you could relay that for me, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Definitely will.
Thank you.
We do make sure they have them and they get filed with the treasurer and in the athletic department office.
I just know there's been an influx of some new coaches that are pretty young. I just want to make sure that they've taken the time to do that before they're even volunteers in our facilities.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
Mr. Vaculek?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Now move on to other business. I need a motion to adjust the 2021 district calendar to add 2-hour delayed start to the school day on Monday, March 1st, 2021 for district staff for professional development.
So move.
Support.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Vaculek?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
All right, we'll move on to discussion information. Mr. Smolk.
Okay, in the area of personnel, it is more for an informational piece. Jennifer Burkhart has come off of the employment recall list and has filled the open position at the high school as the main office secretary. When we had the adjustment last year for personnel, she was put on the recall list and is now back in the building with us, so we're glad to have her back. And the second item, our bullying report for the first semester of the 2020-2021 school year. Based on the board definition of bullying, we had 0 cases for the first semester. So,
All right, thank you. Now move into administrative supervisory reports. Mr. Ahar.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
We're off to a good start at the elementary school. We've had some students return from the Viking Virtual Academy, which changed our enrollment at the in-person learning. We have 2 VBA teachers that are currently teaching K2, and then another teacher teaches the grades 3 to 5. And we added a 4th section of 2nd grade to help reduce the class sizes. It's going very smoothly. As a matter of fact, it went so well the first week we came back that we are now, as of yesterday, the students are fully transitioned to Mrs. Adamczak's classroom, who's being taught by Mrs. Hansel while Mrs. Adamczak is on maternity leave. So it's going very well. The students have adjusted. Our guidance counselor did a great job of getting the kids ready for it, and everything is going very well with the transition. Kindergarten registration is going to be coming up the first week of February, and parents will be filling out the forms online through Final Forms. Students have to be 5 on or before August 1st of 2021 in order to be eligible for kindergarten, as well as our KinderStart classroom. We have a blood drive coming up on January 27th. Right now we have 28 people signed up to donate blood, myself included. And if you're around that evening and you are a blood donor or a first-time blood donor, we'd love to have you stop in. We are taking walk-ins, but appointments are encouraged. The students in grades K through 5 will be completing the mid-year NWEA math assessments. This helps us to monitor student progress from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year to make sure they're on track to meet benchmarks for the end of the year. So that's the only thing I have to report at this time. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ruler?
Good evening. Middle school. Well, we've had 7 school days since last board meeting. I don't want to say nothing's going on, but this is a little shorter this time. I did want to highlight a few staff members that have been doing some pretty cool stuff. Mrs. Christensen is offering it's called the Genius Hour. It's a way that we provide services to our gifted students. It's 2 times a week. They're meeting and basically picking a passion project. They're doing their own research. They got to do presentations. They got to make videos. So it's more some life skills. The kids are really getting into it. They had the option. It was optional to sign up, and they're actually opening it up for more the second semester. So that's going well. Also want to highlight the 7th grade team consisting of Carrie Chamberlain, Miranda Kelly, Carrie Klein, Bob Beamer, and Deb Bard. This year we have a no new instruction period, 4th period. Those group of teachers have kind of come together as a team. They put some things in place, whether it's interventions, homework checks. They do a rotation where so many Fridays a month they're rotating to different teachers, working on different skills, whether it's technology, email. We even got some athletes. I know Mr. Beamer's doing different sports and just kind of reviewing that. Just kind of changing the pace. And Amanda Brahms, the guidance counselor, is working hard. It's that time of year to get state testing. So we're looking, when I submitted the report, we didn't have a dates, but right now it looks like April 13th and 15th will start state testing, and we should be done by the end of April, pending that everything goes smoothly. So it's already upon us. In order to that, we have junior high athletics are rolling. We've been pretty fortunate. Only had a few games canceled, and we got a game going on right now. So that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
I got a quick question. With all the COVID restrictions and everything, are there still plans to go to 6th grade Camp Palmer?
At this point, Camp Palmer, to my understanding, is not open.
Okay.
Mr. Dawson, that 6th grade team is waiting to see if they're going to open up. We have some tentative dates. They're not open at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to, but depending on them.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Curtis?
Good evening, everybody.
We are tying up, we've tied up the first semester at the high school as far as grading is concerned. All grades have been submitted. I know our teachers have been working hard this semester. They've been super happy to be in person. We've had a couple of kids that have been out as a result of quarantine to end the semester, so they're working hard to make sure they're tying up any kids that finished the semester with an incomplete to be able to finalize grades for first semester. At the moment, we have all of our University of Toledo CCP grades in. We've received all of our Viking Virtual Academy grades. Those have all been finalized. The only thing we're waiting on currently in order to formally tie up first semester, because first semester of the year, I guess, elicits a whole roll of things as far as the senior class is concerned, because after the first semester, then we formalize valedictorians, salutatorians. We also formalize our honor roll and merit roll list. So as soon as we receive Fort County Career Signing grades, which I expected to get today. I don't believe I saw them before I walked in here, but I would expect to see them tomorrow or sometime soon. We should, here in the coming days, be able to finalize and formalize first semester grades, merit roll, honor roll list, and then valedictorian and salutatorian for the current senior class. As far as grading is concerned, we've been working hard to prepare for the schedule transition. I know we're working on finalizing and solidifying course registration sheets to be able to facilitate course registration, and then working with the remainder of the administrative team and our school counselor to prepare for parent night coming up. We're inviting parents in to provide them information on the schedule transition that's scheduled for January 19th here at 6 p.m. Beginning of February, we'll start formally registration of students current grades 8 through 11, students that'll be high school students here next year. We also have information that will be going out this week for a College Credit Plus informational night. We're obligated to provide an informational session to parents. That'll be scheduled for February 9th at 6 p.m. In years past, that was required of all families of students that participated in the College Credit Plus program. With the pandemic, that the Department of Higher Education has ultimately left it up to the school to decide if we're requiring parents to come and participate in those meetings. We do think it's important, especially for first-time students participating in the program. You're ultimately starting a college transcript. You're starting a college record that's going to follow you to your first and throughout adulthood and employment, those sorts of things. So there are lots of important things that we think are important. We're going to require those of first-time CCP students. Any other student who's participated in the past is certainly welcome to come, but they're not required. So we'll be sending out information here in the coming week as far as that informational session is concerned. We've been having questions about senior class events, rightfully so. I know seniors turn the corner after Christmas time and want to know what to expect, and with the uncertainty of COVID, that those details have been slow to come out, unfortunately. At the current time, I had a conversation with some representative from the health department this week. As far as graduation is concerned, we genuinely see no reason as to why we should be able to offer a formal traditional graduation ceremony like we've had last year. Now, obviously, there's, those things could change. I certainly hope they don't. But assuming we're continuing in the route that we've been going, assuming that vaccinations continue to improve and we don't take a decline as far as illnesses in the community is concerned, I'm encouraged and hopeful to be able to continue moving forward with our plans for a formal graduation ceremony at the end of May. As far as prom is concerned, I know that a formal prom, in talking with my contact at the health department, they have expressed some concern with a formal dance and a formal prom is what most people would consider and think about. That being said, we are meeting and having conversations of being able to provide kids some semblance of experience, a dinner, a dance, a get-together of some sort, and we will be getting out information here in the coming weeks to families so they can work towards making preparations. I know, it's not easy to make arrangements for dress and, all those sorts of things. So we'll be getting that information out here in the coming weeks as well. I know our coaches and Mr. Stout just left, I think, actually. Coaches, our athletic department, Mr. Stout, has worked really hard this year on preparing for all the
logistical restrictions and safety protocol that OHSAA and the Ohio Department of Health have implemented to maximize the safety of kids, coaches, community members, people coming in here to watch and spectate events. The OHSAA at the beginning of the fall opened what they call an observer program, where essentially they're sending folks around to attend different events and enforce, oversee, and provide recommendations on the districts and the schools' compliance to their protocols and their expectations. We got a call late last week before the home girls basketball game on Friday, and we're notified that we would have a representative attending here at Evergreen. They attended the girls' game versus Swanton here in this gym last Friday, and we got glowing recommendations. It's certainly a kudos to Mr. Staup's leadership and the work and effort of all of our coaches, custodians, and maintenance folks here. If you bear with me for a minute, I'd like to read a section of it because I think it does a great job of highlighting all the hard work of everyone here in the building. Summary of the observations said, I was extremely impressed on how clean the entire facility, including the gymnasium. I was welcomed by the compliance officer, Derek Stout, professionally. I felt welcomed and safe from contracting anything as a fan/spectator of Ohio High School basketball. Derek and myself were talking, and he made a great statement about using hometown ticketing, which I never considered before. It is good not only to manage maintaining his 15% of attendance capacity, but helps with contact tracing if someone was in attendance with COVID-19 and did not know. The system tracks and keeps everyone's contact information available with phone numbers and email addresses. Then with home and visiting teams on opposite sides, narrow down who seem to be contacted to be warned. I would like to nominate Evergreen High School to be able to host OHSAA state tournament basketball games in either the sectional or regionals because Mr. Staup and his staff and administration did a great job making sure everyone from student athletes, fans, spectators, to basketball officials made it home to their families safe. So again, that's a great kudos to Derek's leadership and all of the other staff here to make sure that we're able to operate and offer athletic programs to kids and safe as way possible given the current circumstances. So that's all I have at this point, unless anyone has any questions.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
Hello. Batting cages are completed, or the concrete's poured. I'm hoping they'll get the poles up here. I haven't talked to Jeff when they're planning on doing that, but hopefully that'll happen before baseball season starts. The elementary school roof is finished, and as of right now, there are no leaks, which I think is the first time since the school's been built that we can actually say that. The fire alarm parts are still back ordered. I talked to them this morning, and
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
the fire alarm panels,
Okay.
their parts are still back ordered. They are having trouble with the manufacturer getting them here. So those are still down. The outside lights are almost finished except for some can lights, and I see some lights on the side now. So I need to see if switch is flipped or not. I'm meeting with Simplex Grinnell tomorrow about fire pump. It's 20 years old and needs to be gone over, seals replaced and some stuff like that. So we're gonna get pricing for a rebuild and, if needed, replacement. And then right now, Jason and I are working on cleaning our boiler rooms, trying to get stuff that's been in there for 20 years plus cleaned out and out of the way, get more of it. So that's what I got. Any questions?
How did the irrigation, the ponds and all that hold up?
We were really close to running out of water. Like, we were probably within 6 inches to a foot of sucking on the bottom of the pond.
The new one?
Yeah, that one.
Do we tie into this one out here at all?
That one went down just as fast. We didn't pump out of that one.
So that's something we gotta keep track on because I
Yeah.
practice football field and the baseball field.
Right. And right now, without snow and rain, they're
Right.
not refilling it at all right now. So, something we'll have to watch.
Mhm.
Do we have the ability to tie into the city water with that, or is that something that was put off in case we needed to?
we never tied it, we probably could tie in. I don't know how much we wanna do it. I mean, that's a lot of money to put in 2 fields, so I don't think we ever considered the option, but we probably could do without too much issue. Thank you. Yep. Anything else?
Thanks, Brian.
Maybe look into cutting back a little bit, but I know the baseball field costs, what, 70-some thousand?
Right, yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have to keep water to both of them
Right,
somehow.
yeah. Maybe not as much as we did last year, for the beginning, but say the water for July and August.
Right.
So. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Snow?
2 items to cover with the board. One, the state has revised their quarantine protocols. This was the result of a research study they did with 7 schools throughout the state of Ohio, looking at the spread of COVID in the classroom setting and was it taking place? It did not seem to be. Their research study confirmed that it did not. So the results were very positive as a result of their research. They have relaxed the protocols a little bit within the classroom environment. If students have masks on and teachers and someone comes up positive, as long as safety protocols were followed, that would not require everyone to quarantine. That does not apply to athletics. It does not apply to the lunchroom. Only situations in the classroom where masks are on. And on buses. It also applies on buses if the students and adults wear masks. So that was a change that should help keep us in the building with stronger numbers in the classrooms than we saw first semester. And we did very well overall first semester. So that was a change that came out here in the last week that was positive and is part of the governor's efforts to get other schools back in face-to-face instruction. You know, we've been fortunate coming back in August that we have been able to stay in the classroom and not be required to go remote. Any questions on that?
It should reduce the amount of kids that are out at quarantine.
Correct. Question, the governor has talked about vaccinating adults in schools, people who work with children, again, in efforts to get all schools in Ohio back to face-to-face instruction. In coordinating with the Fulton County Health Department, the governor's goal is by March 1st, talking to the commissioner, she thinks that February may be a stretch just for them to get the vaccine. She thinks March may be a little more realistic. We are surveying our staff right now. They have the opportunity to sign up so we can get numbers to the Fulton County Health Department by the end of the week so they can gauge when they're going to have the vaccines and we can get on their schedule. They have not scheduled any schools yet. They're looking for numbers and waiting for word when vaccine will be delivered to the county. We have every intention of vaccinating every staff member who would like the vaccine. So again, we're collecting names through the end of this week and we will send them in with our total. Any questions on vaccines? Food service operations, we're looking into food service for next year as our cafeteria continues to operate in the red. One potential option we have for an external provider is AVI. They did a presentation for all the schools in our ESC in December. AVI currently is working with Swanton. We went over there and visited to see their operation, how it looked. It was very impressive with the selection of food and how fast they could move students through the line. We have a meeting scheduled with AVI to come and get a presentation from them here this Thursday. If we would look to move to an outside provider that would take care of paperwork and setting the menu, we would still control the price of lunches and we would maintain our employees that work in there. They would kind of oversee and run the program. So we're looking at our options. If we want to go in that direction, we would have to do a request for proposal from AVI as well as anyone else interested in bidding on food service operations for next school year. So we're going to see their presentation here this week and then look at, is that the direction we want to go? And we would put together a committee to look at different vendors and put the RFP out and move forward. But I just wanted the board to know we are looking at options as to how can we save some money in our cafeteria. We know that it's been talked about since I've been here, ways to cut back the loss and to get more students eating out of our cafeterias. Any questions on food service?
Approximation on how much we lose annually in the food budget? About how much we lose annually?
I could get that number for you.
I want to say at the start of this year, we transferred $50,000 to get them up and running for this school year.
And that probably would not last through the year, correct?
Correct.
Okay. We're looking at roughly $75,000 a year.
I think that is realistic, yes.
Okay. I'm certainly not going to hold anybody to that. I'm just
Right.
looking for approximate. It's Swanton program runs in the black.
Yeah, Swanton runs in the black. This is the first year they signed with them. They were with Cartwell for 12 years, switched over to AVI this year. When they signed their contract, AVI guaranteed them $20,000 profit year one.
I'm certainly not concerned about a profit, but it would sure be nice to break even.
How many do we feed out of all of our?
I believe right now we're at about 55 to 60% with the free lunches.
That's still pretty low for
Say
free
again?
lunch.
55 to 60%.
Our students are eating daily out of the cafeteria.
So they're not eating the free lunch.
Not all of them, no.
Okay. Only 55 to 60?
I will double check that, but I
Oh,
believe it was
that's
around
okay.
60%, yes.
My kids better be eating the free lunch. Go write your checks. I think they're eating the free lunch event.
They're probably getting extras. That's all I had, unless you had questions about any of those items or anything else.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. Are there any board members with questions or concerns?
I just want to thank you, Dan, for working on getting prom. I know it's a big, from what happened last year, and just hopefully we can make it happen.
Yeah, we have some ideas. I know Kate brought some ideas together at the prom committee. Got some ideas as well, what some other schools have discussed. So we have a meeting next week scheduled with the senior class advisor, prom committee advisor. We'll review some of those, take a look at the budget, look at what things are feasible, what options we have.
All right, thanks.
That meeting on Thursday.
All right. That's everything. I need a motion to adjourn the January 12th, 2021 regular meeting for the Evergreen Local School Board of Education.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Becklich?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Students, you can give your papers to Mr. Curtis.
Is your name, your honor, please?